Now let's start moving on. A few practicalities. So we have a great lineup of speakers. It's going to be really packed. It's going to be a lot of good content. But once you're here, so when I'm in the seat, I have this huge craving for the dopamine that my cell phone and social media can give for me. And you know what happens when you have a packed program, a lot of speakers, you pull out your phone, you're going to lose your concentration and focus, and you're not going to get the best out of this session. So try to make an exception here. Put a timer on, check your phone every 30 minutes, and focus on what the people we have on the stage actually can have here to say for you, and take a couple of insights with you from the track today. You will have a chance to ask questions, and when you ask questions, so I ask you also to introduce yourself once you're asking the question. I think that's polite to our speakers. We will start with a panel discussion. We have a very interesting lineup for that. We have 2 successful corporations from the Nordics and one successful startup, or maybe we should even call it a scale-up. So let's move on. Action matters. So let me invite to the stage the panelists. Lars Selsas, the founder and CEO of Boost AI, company founded in 2016. Over 100 live virtual assistants, 1,000 certified AI trainers in different organizations, 10 million automated interaction, and Lars has a background of software engineer and data scientist. Welcome, Lars.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Then we have Kia Tahvanainen, head of AI at Telia. A career in Telia from customer services, a great jump to RPA, and now leading all different kinds of AI projects at Telia. And Kia wants to make life of her co-workers more efficient and find meaningful and valuable ways to use technology at Telia. Welcome, Kia. Nice to have you here. And then we have Noora Vesterinen, product owner of Nordea's Nova chatbot, a customer-facing chatbot. 2 years product owner for this is one of the most successful AI project that Nordea has been having, one of the most visible projects as well. 75 customer service representatives' job being taken care of what Kia is responsible for, and has a passion for leveraging modern technology in customer service. Welcome, Noora.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. And I find a box for myself as well. Let's start with a round of questions to each of you and get a conversation going. And please do note your questions. We will have time for those in the end. So Kia.
Yes.
You are responsible for AI at Telia. What is that for a job? What do you do for a living, really?
As you said, I agree you totally. We shouldn't be talking about this high-level concept. We just need to find new ways to solve the business problems. And my work is mostly like internal buy-in, finding the business problems to solve, and just communicate. I think that's like the main thing. And because we are such a huge company, Telia, we are doing ICT business at the B2B unit, and then we are doing this contents and media. We have such a huge playground to do AI stuff, so it's kind of cool.
Is it difficult to get stuff going?
It depends on the project. You need to find somebody who believes in the issue, and you need to find new ways to calculate business cases, and then you have to have this communication going on. So I think these are the keys to get things going. Yeah.
Thank you. Noora, as said, you are the product owner of one of the most visible and successful AI projects at Nordea. What is it that made this project so successful, and was it so since the day one, or is it something that has evolved now during the later days?
Okay, small question. So Nordea's virtual agent Nova went live in September 2017, starting in Norway together with Boost. And since then, we've also rolled out Nova in the other Nordic countries. And we have realized really, really great benefits out of it. Since then, we now have really few manually handled open chats. And for example, in Finland, our overall number of manually handled chats has decreased by 30%. So that's big impact. And yeah, of course, the question is always that, well, people don't like talking to chatbots. And that might be true, but people also like to get the right answers and get them immediately. That is the expectation today. So having 2 million chats yearly, we can't really do that by only having human agents. So I think that's where the key is, that we started with the problem. We realized that we have a real business need, and we have a problem to meet our customers' expectations. So that's why we brought this virtual assistant, and so far we're really happy.
Great. So Lars, you founded Boost in 2016.
Yeah, that's correct.
And if I've understood it right, Nordea was one of your first clients as well. So you chose to begin with a small bank.
Yeah, we started with the small banks in the Nordics.
So I mean, obviously your journey has been, there's been a lot of success as well, but how would you describe the journey? I mean, most of your clients are big corporations or governmental agencies, and not necessarily known as the most easiest companies to work with. Not pointing any fingers here, of course, ladies, but how would you describe your journey so far with also the corporation?
Yeah, I mean, so we always wanted to be like enterprise B2B delivery, and kind of the larger enterprises has always been our key focus area. That's also the game you understand. And I just think you need to always play the game you understand, because that's where you have an advantage. But of course, if you take the Nordea example, we just got a request from, right after we went live with SR Bank, we got a request from Accenture saying, we have this meeting now with Nordea. Do you guys want to join the process? I think they were at the end with 2 other vendors. And we kind of got to just jump in at the end and take the deal. So that one kind of just came a little bit out of nowhere. And in that stage, we started just signing a huge amount of contracts very early on after we went live. Of course, we got lucky. We got the front page of the Dagens Næringsliv in Norway, the largest financial newspaper. So one of our best sales quarters was actually the Q1 in 2017, which is quite old now, but it kind of just, we had Accenture Norway running for us like crazy, which definitely helps. So I think also a key is kind of finding your spot in the ecosystem and thinking that you can collaborate with the large players. They are not always kind of difficult to work with. Of course, you need to have some patience with them sometimes, but I think if you can really play together with them, that's when you get amazing business results.
So you didn't just solve how to sell your product and service to the biggest clients, but you also solved how Accenture works and how to get Accenture incentivized to work for you.
Well, you guys pretty much figured out how to sell our product before we did, so it was kind of nice just giving it to you, and then that was kind of...
Sounds like a good story. Is it really so difficult to work with you guys? Kia, Noora, what do you think?
I think in some ways it is, but we are trying to be more agile, and there's still some business processes, for example, regarding sourcing and contracts that we need to fulfill, but I think both of our organizations are trying to find the ways to work them the most agile way and to be involved in this startup scene, because we need you and your technology at the moment. So
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I can't speak on behalf of the whole Nordea, but at least in this area, we are working with 3 different technologies, two vendors, and already the kind of vendor onboarding process is quite a process for us. There is different privacy and legal and compliance processes, but I think the more we do it, the more familiar we get with the technologies, more familiar we get with the risks, then the easier it gets, and yeah, the requirements are not going to go anywhere, but we might get easier with the processes.
Very good. As I mentioned in the beginning, so I feel, based on my conversations with a lot of companies, that one of the main challenges we have today is that we've made AI something mystique and hype-ish. Of course, everybody wants to have AI, and we even have CEOs of big companies to say that I want to have an AI initiative, an AI program, and an AI lead, and all this. But what's your feeling? I mean, are we making it too difficult by talking about very abstract things, or should we kind of get down to more concrete stuff and hands-on? Noora, maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think kind of the expectations that people have that okay, we want to start using AI. Like let's bring in AI technology. People have really high expectations. Most of the time, it's because they maybe don't understand. They haven't seen the use cases. So I'd rather spin it around that coming with the problem and, like I said in the beginning, coming with the business need, and then letting kind of the company as a whole decide what is the best solution. So we for example, we have amazing data scientists who then can help to solve that problem instead of coming with that idea that we just want to have AI.
Can you be a little bit more concrete? So what are the projects that you have currently you see around the organization, and what are the real names of these projects? Not the AI, this and that, but you know.
Well, of course, the virtual assistant is one of them. Then we're working with intelligent routing, so routing our customer interactions to the correct places, correct channels, correct service advisors. But then also doing kind of interaction analytics. One project that I'm working with right now is with voice analysis, to trying to understand better what our customers are talking about and what they are asking about in our customer service.
Sounds very good. Kia,
Yeah.
how would you like to? What are you currently working on?
Currently, with the Telia, we are working with same areas, and besides that, we are also using machine vision in some projects. For example, we had this need that we need to deliver our internet access faster, and the design process was quite manual, and to make that like AI assisted, we needed this algorithm to read the satellite pictures and automate the process. So that was the one way to use machine vision in our business processes. Yeah.
But is there a correlation between if it's concrete, it gets funding easier?
Yeah.
Or is it kind of an obvious question?
Yeah, and we have this like daily communication between our business unit managements, and we are trying to find how we can fulfill their objectives, their KPIs, and via that communication we are trying to find use cases, and after that we just find the technologies which we are going to use.
Very good. And Lars, this is probably something you already taught from the beginning, or then you have figured it out on the way, but something you have done right, because you've been able to get so many clients. So is articulating the value something that you have kind of running in your Norwegian blood, or how does it work out?
I think we are actually not that good at articulating the value. That's actually one of our weak spots. But I think for us, the big scale-up has just been, when you deliver real value for some enterprises, they talk together. So you should always remember that effect. You know, consultancy companies, the big companies, they all talk together. So if you go in, you deliver great value, even if you have a really bad sales team, they will talk together, and they will be, you know, like if you have huge success, you might talk to Nordea, and Nordea might say, that is actually interesting. Look at the website, it might not even be that good, but you know, okay, you made these really great results. We want to talk to those guys. I think one of the big plays, especially in the Nordics, is this like, don't underestimate word of mouth. I think is huge for kind of scaling up, and that's why, you know, we hired our first salesperson end of last year, because we were just kind of busy, really wanting to take care of our customers, delivering, and we always thought that was much more important. And then also you get also a very, I think, healthy customer base, because that's your focus. Your focus is not just to sell as much as possible, but it should be to deliver. And then, of course, you need to, if you want to scale really big later on, you need to add sales later. But I think the initial stage should be much more focused on delivery, quality, getting a really strong use case. And then you go to the concrete, right? You get real numbers, you get, you know, real business. That's what everybody likes. And I think it's also kind of key that this is a space full of hype. So if you just have a great pitch, everybody's going to look at you and not believe you. Because you can go to any like conference you will, there's a bunch of AI startups, even the enterprises, showing all their like flashy features, amazing demos. The big thing you always should ask yourself is, does it really work? And that's where kind of getting a validated enterprise going and saying, yes, we're using their solution. It gives us great results, just changes the whole discussion. You're not part of the hype cycle anymore. You're real business.
I would imagine that there's a lot of entrepreneurs who would like to be on this seat 3 years from now, Lars. So is there something you would do differently now that you have kind of the right answers, how you managed to get here?
Oh, that's hard to say. I think there's so many small details. But I think on the larger picture, we did quite okay. But there's always, every day there's small details we would want to change. But I don't know if there's too many on the kind of the bigger picture. Probably maybe even earlier on understanding even more the importance of running the project. So I think that's insanely big here. Like, even if you have a really good product, if you don't go with especially B2B, a little bit complicated solution, you also have to make like a setup where there's a really good project being run, because that is really key. How do you, like with the bank, maybe you at some point you want to get logged in user, you want to get the right answers, getting the progress, you want them to use your solution in the way that you intended, because it's of course dangerous that they will potentially start using your solution in slightly different ways if you don't train them well enough.
How do you estimate the value? What kind of process do you have in place at Telia?
We calculate different aspects. Of course, like the business case is based on efficiency and money, but then we take also like employee experience, customer experience, wrap-up time, like decreasing the wrap-up time and potential of more sales and stuff like that into calculations. And you just need to do a really good work with your buy-in, so you get funded inside your company, because that way, because you don't like get all the benefits directly. So I think you have the same issue.
Yeah. So especially with AI solutions, it's not always easy to come up with like very clear and kind of direct business cases. It might not be 100%.
But how do you deal with that? I mean, our corporations are known for their, impeccable ROI calculations. They want to know exactly how much money you are going to save or make. So how do you go around that with, having potentially an exponential business case or a logarithmic scale on the benefit or something like this? How do you deal with this?
I wish there was a direct answer. How we have done it is that we used a lot of assumptions for the business case, but also we started quite small, focused on one specific area, one specific country, and then started realizing the benefits there, learned more, and then it was easier to start building on top of that. Like Lars was saying, also for the startups working, that kind of starting first and then starting to get the kind of good customers and realize the benefits.
So a little bit of lean startup thinking in that okay, let's see what happens, and if it happens, so let's multiply and so on. Is that so, Lars? Most of the clients are doing it.
I think always we always have a goal with kind of our deliveries, that we want to deliver ROI as fast as possible. We don't want to make the biggest, most flashy project initially, because we see if we can go in and we can create good numbers, then it's a lot easier to go and say in the next step, let's take the next step now. And because they have to get budget, so if they can go and say, we have this ROI, and then they go ask for a budget, instead of coming asking for this insane budget straight away, saying, potentially, once we've done this insanely big thing, we are going to get a return. That is a really difficult thing to sell, even in a large enterprise. They have a lot of money kind of in total, but they're not just getting like these crazy budgets to. So the more you can like get to the point of creating value early, and then if you can kind of build on top of that, I think is in many ways the best way to go, because then you also get that trust, and it's also, the more they need to commit before they get value, the harder it is to even get started.
So start small is the advice you are giving here, and move quick.
Yeah, not necessarily start small. So we actually like to start with like a big scope, for example, because that's kind of advantage with our technology. But I'd say start fast. So that could mean that you might be able to do a lot of things, but start with the low-hanging fruit. You could, for example, if you can cover a massive scope in 3 months and really get a really strong AI, you should do that. So you should start with something really good, but you should I'd rather say fast. So maybe, for example, for us, let's delay the integrations with the backend, because we know that's going to be extremely time-consuming. And initially, in terms of speed, I would say, add less value than just getting a really big kind of foundation. So I say more about the speed. Find like the key components that you can deliver in a short time frame. So even though that's a kind of a big total delivery, that needs to happen fast.
Is that how it's at Telia as well?
Yeah, we are doing these POCs to have more like sophisticated assumptions to base the business case on, and then we just scale up, and we do like these multi-dimensional business cases where we can cover different areas, and then we just decide what to go first. But we try to think that we need to scope the problem or the area quite small and start with that, but yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a concrete example is the virtual assistant that we have at Nordea. Like we started in Norway. Norway started to see the benefits. Then during the next year, maybe half a year later, we realized that, okay, we want to get the benefits also to the other countries. So we did kind of evaluation and also vendor selection again, and then started rolling out to the other countries, focusing on the first, I think it was 150 topics that we wanted the chatbot to be able to do, because it's not only the low-hanging fruits, it's fruits that are already on the ground. There are things that, I mean, it was so easy to automate. And then building on top of that. Yeah, so not stopping there, but starting to build on top of that, and then adding the new things like what Lars mentioned, the integration to the backends. Like one important thing for us has been the seamless customer experience from the chatbot, not just as a standalone chatbot solution on our webpage, but also escalating to a human agent when needed, because the human is still needed.
This is something that I've been also trying to preach, and kind of I was encouraged by a conversation I had with Finnish immigration authorities, and they had a little bit similar project ongoing as well, and they said that if we had known how difficult it is to change our organization's behavior, we would have started this 3 years earlier, because that's going to take so long to get the people on board and find the new roles and fill the roles with new people or old people when you are completely changing the way that the people are working, when you're no longer a customer services representative, but you're actually training somebody or training a machine to do your work. A little bit tanging on that, one thing that often comes up is that people see, or the companies see, that data is an inhibitor for these projects. So company kind of go behind the data and say that, oh, we don't have the right data, we don't have the right quality of data, there are security issues, I can't give my data to Lars because it's personal data. How do you, despite of all this kind of problems that we have with data, so how have you solved it in order to get forward?
We have this information governance model where we measure our most important data and have automated ways to correct the data. So, for example, customer data and address data and stuff like that. So we have a process going on which takes care that the data is as good as it could be. And besides that, we need to practice with the legal department and so on. So just work with the cases and get legal involved and try to tackle all these GDPR issues and stuff like that. So we are still learning, but yeah.
Learning to do it at scale.
Yeah.
Noora, how about you?
Yeah, we're also, as a bank, we are quite conservative with our data. Especially in this area where we're looking at kind of customer service data, what customers have talked to us in their interactions, maybe customer data itself. We also have the processes. So, for example, this voice analytics case that I mentioned, where now our ambition is to do a proof of concept using some production data. And it is a long process to go through the kind of privacy discussions and identify the risks, legal compliance processes and getting the approvals. But I truly believe that kind of going through those once and twice and doing more and more, we will get more familiar with them and kind of start understanding the risks also a lot better. I think at this point still it is a new area and there is a lot of uncertainties that people have in their mind and kind of want to raise them as risks. So hopefully this will be a learning curve.
Quick comment, Lars, how does this show to you? I mean, how do you see this from your perspective?
I think as a startup, you probably want, definitely the first customer needs to be the nice guy, because they need to be patient also with you and also teach you a little bit more of the enterprise's view on the data and need to be willing to work with you. But once you kind of, like we got the first customer was the banks. We of course got pushed, quite heavily in the first round. A couple of steps up when we talked to Nordea after, because they are quite heavy in this, and they also have many countries and different things. But I think you need to become more of an enterprise. You can't stay as a startup for very long in many areas. You can't be this cool startup that doesn't care about security and so on. You have to go in, show that you're as solid as anyone else. The enterprises are not going to lower their standards for compliance, security, whatever, to work with a startup. I don't think that's going to happen. So you need to become a kind of real enterprise vendor really fast if you're going to survive in that game.
And also not get discouraged by the processes. It might be quite a different kind of viewpoint as a new startup, that it takes quite a while and it might require some flexibility also from the vendor.
But I think that's where the key is, finding this first nice customer. Like we had this one bank that's willing to be a little bit patient with you, and even though you don't have everything ready, they're willing to guide you a little bit. Yeah, if you can take these steps, we can work with you. So you really need that. First customer needs to be a collaboration. First customer can't be like a delivery, because you're probably not going to be able to just deliver. Of course, after that, you're ready for delivery. You have things ready, you can go to the next customers and say, now we have it ready, we can deliver. But the first guy is a collaboration. You're not going to have everything ready. They're going to work with you till you get it ready. That doesn't mean they're going to drop any of the requirements, but they're willing to sit with you, explain what you need to do, and help you to pass all the thresholds.
Good, I'm noting down. Find your first nice client and develop with the client. Noora and Kia, so you have your ways to collaborate with the startups. We have a little bit time left, so a quick pitch, like how can you, as a startup, get to Telia and to Nordea and start working with you guys?
As Noora just said, that we are also in Telia quite conservative. We like to have our data on-prem and find ways to deal with that, and find ways to estimate what it is going to take to make the process to the production and give it at the beginning of the sales pitch. So because we are lacking, many startups at the moment are just giving some really rough estimations about it might be that or it might be something like that, and we just need something to compare and to have some real estimations to go to business with and get the internal buy-in.
Yeah. And you have your startup lab where you are helping the clients.
Yeah, Marco is actually running
Marco is here and quality controlling.
Yes.
That's the guy. You also have a startup lab at
Yes,
Nordea.
yes, we do. And again, only talking on kind of the area that I work in, but we, for example, do work with 3 companies. 2 of them are startups, or however you want to define a startup. But we like to work with new companies, see the new ideas, and are open to hearing about them. But then, like we discussed earlier, we are a slightly different company. There are processes, so don't get discouraged if it takes a while. And we really appreciate the flexibility. If you can help us get started fast, then that's always a bonus.
That's very good. Any questions from the audience? I believe we have one of the catch boxes somewhere. Hands up, introduce yourself, quick questions. Here in the front row.
Yes, thank you. Hello, my name is Pavel with Implement. We providing conversational AI focused exclusively on internal communication and employees. And my questions, do you guys try already such solution as Nova, but for your employees?
Yes, we have, of course, our Nova serving customers, but then we also have Nova virtual agents serving our employees on different areas of the bank. Now, recently, serving our customer service agents, helping them find the information fastest. So yes, we definitely see it as a growing thing.
Yeah. We have also this internal chatbot to provide assistance in HR and stuff like that. And besides that, we have our virtual assistants in for example, in customer service to boost the sales and help and give assistance there.
Very good. Thank you very much to our panelists. Time is up. Kia, Lars, and Noora, thank you very much for being here with us, and a big hand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.